Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the bandwagon. If you had jumped off after losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, now everyone's back on. Although I don't think many people who watch these videos are bandwagon fans. You guys seem pretty loyal followers, and I really appreciate you guys watching these videos, considering it's just me sitting here for 15 minutes talking to myself, basically. But I love the interaction on Twitter. By the way, my Twitter handle is the same as my YouTube username. You can follow me there, and I pretty much talk to everybody about Bills football, Sabres hockey, baseball, wrestling, all those kinds of things. Check that out. But like I said, guys, thanks. You guys aren't the bandwagon fans, I know. In summation, you're not the bandwagoners, I know. But everyone's back on because the Bills beat the Texans 30-21. They improved their record to 6-6. And they have gained a tiebreaker over Houston and are now 8th in the AFC, as opposed to 10th last week after they lost to Kansas City. The game was closer, I thought, than the two-score victory might show you, but the Bills still never trailed, and I thought they outplayed the Texans for much of the game, despite the fact that they really never actually pulled away. It was basically a one-score game until just after the 2-minute warning. Tyrod Taylor, can't say enough about the guy really so far. He didn't have a huge sample size throwing the football, but I thought he made the most of all of his action plays. He finished with 4 total touchdowns, 1 rushing, had only 211 yards passing, but on 21 attempts, and that's 10 yards per attempt, which is a very impressive number. And I believe the stat is still correct. The Bills are 0-4 when Tyrod Taylor attempts 30 or more passes and 6-0 when he doesn't. So there's the most telling stat of all. And the Bills are running the ball effectively, whether that's Tyrod Taylor or LaShawn McCoy. And Tyrod's making the most of his throws, i.e. getting the ball to Sammy Watkins. It's a formula for success for the Bills. It seems pretty obvious. Get the ball to your best players. He obviously only completed 3 passes to Sammy Watkins, but they were all big. There was a 3-yard touchdown in the first quarter, and I believe they were both 53-yard catches, deep balls to Sammy. He found him in man coverage, kind of double coverage. The safety was coming over on the first one. Sammy tracks it, catches it like that. That's the kind of rapport, the kind of trust that a quarterback and a wide receiver can build together, and now Tyrod won't be as hesitant to just lay it out there for him. Let your guy track the ball and go get it. LaShawn McCoy played big again, 112 yards rushing, which is the 3rd time in the last 5 games he's had exactly that number, which is interesting, on 21 carries. So you got to credit him for establishing the running game. You got to credit the offensive line, because they kept J.J. Watt in check. He had 4 total tackles, no sacks, no passes defensed. I mean, they pretty much relegated him to... He did not have an impact on the game. He was a non-factor. He had 1 sack that was called back by a penalty, so, hey, whatever. They used double teams, triple teams. He got one-on-one a couple times, and I saw him get handled by Wood and Incognito. And I noticed that the Bills would change the play a lot at the line of scrimmage based on Watt's alignment. They would get up there, they would see where he is. Usually he's on the right side, but if he was over to the left or above the center, they might switch. They might audible a play and just flip it right there on the fly. I credit Greg Roman for that. I thought he had a tremendous game plan, and that, I'm sure that trickles down all throughout the offensive coaches, even Rex Ryan. And they did a terrific job. He scored 27 points or 30 points. You miss an extra point, you miss a field goal. That's 34. That's 5 scores that you got. You got 4 touchdowns and a field goal, and you missed out on another field goal. That's the way to get it done, especially at home. The Bills were 8 of 16 on 3rd downs, which is huge because if you watch my preview video, the Houston entered the game as the best 3rd down defense in the NFL. The Bills were 3 of 4 in the red zone, and the 4th possession was the Carpenter field goal where the Bills were just running the clock, making Houston use their timeouts, taking the 9-point lead. So red zone efficiency, always huge. Bills haven't been the best at it. They're the best at scoring outside the red zone. The Bills are 5th They're 5th in the league in touchdowns. It goes Arizona, who's 10-2. Carolina and New England are tied, and they're 12-0 and 10-2. And then Cincinnati is 10-2, and then the Bills are 5th, and they're 6-6. Doesn't make sense. Like I said, yeah, they're scoring a lot outside the red zone. Charles Clay did it. Wow, wide open. Holy crap. And I think it's like 22 or, I don't know, 20. It's in the mid-20s how many touchdowns they have outside the red zone. And they only have 36 on the season. So how about we just get into the red zone more often? I mean, you can keep scoring these big plays. That's fine. But I like the way they're moving the ball. Defense was good. Not great. They did allow 401 total yards, but they did force 7 punts, which I thought was kind of a big deal. The Hopkins TD was a pretty clear push-off, in my opinion. Just about every media outlet that showed the highlight noted that it was a pretty clear push-off. Still, the Bills had the lead. They had that touchdown lead at half and at the end of the third quarter, 21-13. They blew a couple chances to extend that lead. Carpenter missed a field goal. Clay had that huge drop. And that's the point of the game where you're like, here we go. We just can't just keep screwing up like this, because eventually they're going to come back. They did. They tied it with the Hopkins TD that I mentioned. But Bills battle back. Tyrod brings him down the field right around the 2-minute warning. Hits Charles Clay for a wide open touchdown. Not that that's a difficult throw for him to make, but he made it. And McCoy had a huge run prior to that. That's finishing a game, which we're not all that used to seeing the Bills doing. So maybe they are turning a corner. Maybe they do have a quarterback. And you have talent all throughout the roster. You can see that. And now they're 8th in the AFC. They will need some wins and some help. But you have to worry about this week. The playoff picture is fun to look at. But, I mean, ultimately, the Bills have to win. And then worry about what else is going on around them. The Bills are going to have a huge impact on how the AFC East is decided, because they have NFC East. They have 3 straight opponents in the NFC East: Philly, Washington, Dallas, and they're all within 1 game of each other. Philly and Washington are both 5-7, tied for first place. Dallas is 4-8, 1 game out, which is pathetic. But these are all motivated teams trying to win their division, trying to get into the playoffs. So you're going to get their best. Philly's coming off a huge win in Foxborough, where the Bills couldn't win. They won 35-28, and Philly is just, what an unpredictable team. You just never know who's showing up. They had lost 3 straight. They got blown out twice against Tampa Bay and Detroit, who aren't, star-studded teams exactly. And those were with Mark Sanchez. So Sam Bradford comes back, and he throws for only 120 yards against the Patriots. Throws 2 touchdowns. And they get 3, miscellaneous touchdowns. They block a punt and return it for a touchdown. They return an interception for a touchdown. They return a punt for a touchdown. So are you sort of telling me that as long as the Bills don't allow crazy things like that to happen, they could be in good shape? Maybe. Maybe. You never know which one of these Eagles teams is showing up. It's not like the Patriots to make mistakes like that, but they did, and the Eagles made them pay for it. The Eagles are 2-3 overall at home. They have a 3-game home stretch coming up right now, beginning with the Bills on Sunday. They are 5-5 with Sam Bradford as their starting quarterback, and he's in the contract year. They're trying to decide what they want to do with him. He's second last in the NFL in completion percentage against the blitz, about 46%. Matt Castle is last, who the Bills will see in a couple weeks. You never know what you're going to get with Sam Bradford. He doesn't have a star-studded wide receiver core either. Jordan Matthews is an alright player. They just cut Miles Austin. They have Josh Huff, who's kind of a gadget player. Riley Cooper is there. And Brent Selleck, Zach Ertz. These guys haven't blown people out of the water at all. They're not Pro Bowlers by any means. Darren Sproles has been terrific in the backfield. DeMarco Murray has been a pretty big story this week, and I know I haven't gotten to the story yet. I'm getting there. And you probably know what I'm talking about. DeMarco Murray's been a story for the Eagles. He only played 14 snaps against New England. Reportedly went to owner Jeffrey Lurie about his role on the team, and he just signed a 5 or 6 year deal. So, what are you guys going to do with that? He only has 35 carries in the last 3 games. The last 2 games, he only has 22 carries for 54 yards, and he hasn't caught a pass in either one of those games, which he had in every game prior to that he had played in. Ryan Matthews may return from concussion. I think that would be an advantage for the Eagles. He seems to have the knack for the end zone. He scored the last 3 games he's played and just hasn't played in a while because of that concussion. Darren Sproles is obviously going to have a role in special teams and on offense. He's terrific in the screen game. So is Matthews, and so is Murray. They're all good at that. They're great pass-catching running backs. There's obviously, here we go, the Chip Kelly versus LaShawn McCoy narrative. McCoy obviously motivated to return to Philly earlier this week, saying he wouldn't shake Chip Kelly's hand after Chip Kelly said he wanted to, and who knows the truth behind that. LaShawn McCoy is catching some sort of heat, and then you see the Herm Edwards rant about, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about football. It's like, well, you're a member of the media. I get where you're coming from, but it's media members that are asking him questions about this. And at first he's thinking, I don't want to make this about me. But he keeps getting questions about it. So you're obviously just trying to pry something out of him, and you finally got it. So I really don't see the issue with that. LaShawn McCoy has every right to be upset with Chip Kelly. He basically got rid of him. If you're LaShawn McCoy and you get traded for a linebacker who didn't play last season, and then they signed DeMarco Murray, what are you thinking? They give DeMarco Murray big money. And then earlier this week, Chip Kelly says we needed to save that money, LaShawn's money, so we could possibly re-sign Bradford. No, that's wrong. That's not correct. You clearly wanted LaShawn McCoy off of your team if you traded him for a linebacker and then signed somebody to basically similar money. That's really all I got to say about that. Chip Kelly didn't want LaShawn McCoy. LaShawn McCoy clearly didn't like Chip Kelly. Obviously, there's some hatred there. I'd give the advantage to LaShawn McCoy in this case because he's running motivated. He's played there before. His team wants to win for him. Let's get into some of the matchups here. Last couple minutes. Eagles are 16th overall on offense, 352 yards per game. 19th passing the football, 12th running. 15th in points per game, about 23. They're tied for 26th in yards per play, just over 5. Tied for 25th on third down percentage, 35%, but somehow they're 8th in first downs, 21 per game. Those stats don't really correlate very well, but hey, whatever. They're dead last in time of possession per game, just under 26 and a half minutes, and that obviously could be attributed to the fast Chip Kelly, Oregon style of offense that they play. On defense, they are 26th overall, 383 yards per game. They've allowed the 7th most first downs, just over 22 per game. They're 27th in third down defense. They allow you to convert 42% of the time. They do have some playmakers. Brandon Graham has 6.5 sacks. Connor Barwin has 5.5. Fletcher Cox has 5.5. Vinny Curry, Michael Kendricks. These are pretty good players in their front 7. But their back end of their defense is not that good. I like Malcolm Jenkins, I do. I don't like Byron Maxwell at all. Eric Rowe is their other corner. Jalen Watkins, Sammy's brother. There's your advantage. There's the Bills' advantage. They should be able to throw the ball successfully against these guys because their receivers are better than all of the Eagles' corners. And I'm going to give the Bills the advantage with the McCoy thing. I think that is motivation not only for McCoy but for the whole team, even Rex Ryan. We know that the Eagles are dangerous on special teams. They could score there. They could score on defense. They did last week. Just stop them from doing that. I think the Bills should win this game easily. I'm picking the Bills. They should. They won't because they're unpredictable, just like the Eagles. But I'm going to pick the Bills to win 27-17. Bang, 10-point win on the road in Philly. Guys, thanks for coming this far in the video. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you guys next week. As always, go Bills.